Good evening. Welcome to this evening's edition of the Rich Urban Show. I am your host, Richard Urban, coming to you from historic Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Tonight's episode is We Are at an Inflection Point. So today was a very interesting day. You see many things going on. For instance, President Trump was hit with a absolutely, if it was another word, you could say absurd $355 million judgment, and people saying they take over their business when he didn't do anything different than businesses usually do. In other words, it's just a complete scam. You have this person who's shacking up with their prosecutor, Fani Willis, also a persecutor or prosecutor of Trump. And then you have the usurper Joe Biden coming to East Palestine and giving some sham interview over there, not actually talking to any people there about how their water is poisoned, and the EPA director or person patting themselves on the back. So what is going on? And even I have my own inflection point. I was supposed to have a local review of my property taxes on a property we own Tuesday, but it was snowed out, so I went today. And I had all this data about how the property is valued wrong. And you know what happened? Nothing. It was like a kangaroo show. I had all these things. The assessor's office didn't answer any of them. And then Stolliver, the commission, said, we'll give them 5% off. I'd asked for 160% reduction. We should have just flipped a penny out into the audience, man. But anyway, I got a 30% reduction. Wow, now my property taxes only go up 100% instead of 130. So I am proud to be in the inflection point. Yay! The point is, corruption is happening in a lot of different areas. And I feel spiritually there's an inflection point going on in our country. I mean, we see the most incredible and outrageous things going on. I mean, how could anybody, or put it another way, anyone who had graduated from, say, about kindergarten could see that this is the most ridiculous criminal situation. The people who need to be in jail are these so-called judges and so-called prosecutors, persecutors, whatever, political appointees or so on. I guess people voted for, in some areas they voted for them, but this is insane. So anyway, I do want to have a hopeful message that I think the inflection point isn't that we're going down, like inflection point in geometry. You go like this, and then it reverses. Well, we're going up. You know what? We're going up, not down. Up. The people who are doing this criminal activity are going down. It can't be sustained. There is a creator of the universe. And of course, we have to do our part. Like I did reams and reams and reams and reams of research for my tax case, and they didn't answer any of it. They just ignored it. That's okay. I mean, it's not okay. I'm going to keep, working on those issues because it's not just me, but all the people in my neighborhood whose property land tax increased 130%. Yes, I'm not misspeaking. 130% in one tax year, i.e., double and 30%, 130%, more than double. So that's crazy. And you have some properties that are valued at like $5,000 an acre, and then right next to it, like property, like one of our properties, they say it's valued at 67,000 an acre, and there's like abandoned vehicles in some properties and trash piled up, and the roads are so bumpy, you can hardly get there. Give me a break. In any case, we are at an inflection point in society. And I also want to say we need something more than just politics, because you can see there's plenty of politicians on both sides of the aisle who are corrupt. So we need honest, people who are God-centered. That means they follow their conscience, not, just what's expedient or, serving their own interest or self-interest. So those people are becoming more, predominant. And a couple of the commissioners today, there were like 4 commissioners there. One was absent. they did try to bring up questions, and they wanted to investigate, and they still should investigate. I'm asking actually the county commission to investigate why property taxes are so out of line in Westridge Hills area, which is one part of Jefferson County, West Virginia, and how the way the tax office calculates things is definitely, there's no doubt about it. It's wrong. It's either incredibly incompetent or corrupt or all of the above. So we'll keep fighting on that. But anyway, it just caught my attention that all these different things happened today, February 16th. So I think, as people, as godly people, we need to keep fighting for what's right, and be involved in the field. Don't be afraid. Like, I wished a bunch of my neighbors, they got the notices too, and their taxes went up 130%. I wish they would have been down there. Even one of the things that says, oh, no one else complained. Well, first of all, it's a pretty working class neighborhood. So probably if they had a bunch of lawyers there and stuff, there would have been at least a few people there. And then a funny thing too is that the most expensive house that's in the same area, but is really not typical of the area. It's on the lake and on a short street where the previous owner owned half the street property. And it's right off the main street. But that property sold for almost doubled value and received no tax increase. Zero. Nothing. And then up on my street, if you call it a street, a bumpy dirt and gravel road, almost everybody with a house, and also all of my vacant lots, received on the land value 130% tax increase. And I have neighbors who had electricity disconnected because they couldn't pay the bill. And now they're trying to jack up the tax 130%. And the rate of the taxes in that area, Western Hills, are already at the current levels before the 130% jack up, already higher than the rates all in the other areas. Go figure. And way higher than some properties that, so definitely something's going on. It doesn't smell good. It's not right. So I'm going to keep fighting on that accord. But it just caught me today. It's definitely an inflection point. The outrageous visit by the usurper, fake President Biden, saying, the residents of East Palestine, oh, everything's great, and so on, and not actually talking to any of the people who have health problems, who have toxic chemicals all over the place. That's it. And by the way, why didn't he come a year ago when it happened? So, that's really crazy. Then the whole thing of President Trump getting a $355 million judgment and saying he can't operate his businesses for 3 years, someone else will take over. Even people who are progressive or liberal, like Katie Couric or whatever, think that's that's outrageous. I mean, anybody who graduated kindergarten can see what's happening. All these I've talked about on the show before, the other cases. President Trump said that there was voter fraud. Well, hello. First of all, even if there wasn't, that would be First Amendment right. Second of all, there was voter fraud. So that's supposed to be a case? Then the same thing in like Georgia. All these people. Oh, the lady in the Georgia, I forget her name now, whatever, and her daughter were appear to be doing fraud. I mean, it's perfectly normal. There's ballots under the table, whatever. Oh, that's terrible, defaming. You have to pay them $20 million. What the heck? This is crazy. And then there's other cases, like all the other cases too. The one in Mar-a-Lago. And now there's an intel out. This is, if you haven't, actually I'll link to it below the podcast, where actually a journalist has discovered that the reason for the Mar-a-Lago raid is, remember that's another whole case there, for the raid was that there was some kind of CIA document, and this came out last week too already. The CIA was actually planning, the document they're trying to recover at Mar-a-Lago, according to this article, which is perfectly credible to me, a lot more credible than Joe Biden, that's for sure, is that they're trying to recover this memo that apparently was there that proved that the CIA was actually working covertly by getting intelligence agencies from other countries to spy on Trump. And that, of course, also this whole Russia collusion thing was a complete fraud. So, I mean, they're getting more and more deep in the water, in the muck. So today's the inflection point, I feel, spiritually, externally. It's an inflection point. I mean, these people, whether, and it's not, Republican or Democrat, it's both sides. There's lots of people. Also, apparently, they had a really heated debate at Capitol Hill about the funding, continuing our funding at such levels that are completely unsustainable. Well, of course, they should be reduced. And the government, if they don't agree, shut it down. What's wrong with these people? We're paying like all the debt payments right now are larger, over $1 trillion. I don't even know how much $1 trillion is. Yes, I know it's like 1,000 billion, but realistically, I mean, what is that, like dollar bills stacked up to Mars or something? Maybe Pluto or some next universe. I don't know. It's insane. So I just had to come on because this inflection point, I mean, it affected me personally, since I had my case. It was like this kangaroo court kind of thing, but tax case. But it's interesting to me that it was just today. It was supposed to be Tuesday, but it snowed and the county government here was shut down. And then this crazy stuff happening to President Trump today. And thank God he's still fighting that. Most people would have given up, with spending hundreds of millions of dollars in defense. And the people of East Palestine have been poisoned. And then Biden goes there and says, everything's great. We've done everything great. Oh my gosh. So yes, inflection point. But the inflection point is turning towards God's side. And also, I'd like to say, we need something greater than politics. Of course, as believers, we know, politics isn't the most essential thing. But what is that thing that can unite us? It's obviously not a particular church doctrine, because there's like, I don't know, 40,000 different churches, or even if there's 4,000. Anyway, tens of thousands of different churches, thousands, if not tens of thousands, of different denominations. No, we need God-centeredness, but something that's unifying. It has to be centered on love. Love, when I say love, I mean family love, love between husband and wife, sexual love, love between parents and children. Of course, you can't have children if you don't have parents, if you don't have sexual love. So that has to be centered on God. So we have a new site, unionstation.love. We being Urban Life Training, the nonprofit station I founded. And there we center on love, bringing your family into the Garden of Eden, so to speak. Bring your family out of the false lineage into God's lineage. So this, of course, is for newly matched couples. So if you're looking for a match, you can join there, and we have a wonderful blessing preparation course, and soon the matching part of the site will be open. And also, if you're a married couple, it's also necessary if you want to continue your marriage with your spouse after you die. Remember, the traditional Christian belief is no marriage in heaven. That's what Jesus said. Which of the 7 husbands will I be with? To the widow. None. Jesus said none. So traditionally people think, oh, well, there's no marriage in heaven. Wait a minute. I mean, so if you love your spouse, you love them so dearly, you created, 2 or 4 or 8 kids, however many children you have, and you really love them so much, and you have a wonderful relationship, or sometimes a difficult relationship, and then you're going to die, and you go to the next world, and you're not going to live with your spouse? Well, that's right. You're not going to live with your spouse unless you receive blessed marriage, because that's eternal marriage on earth. And on earth, things will be done on earth as is in heaven. So yes, we all need the blessing. And because in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, as you know, started on the wrong foot. So do head over to unionstation.love and sign up as either a single looking for a match, or newlywed couple, or say you have a fiance, then sign up there too, so you can become a blessed couple. It's a wonderful class that'll benefit your viewpoint of God-centered marriage. It's about God-centered marriage. So I'm proposing that is the thing that we need. a true God-centered marriage centered on true love. And Reverend Sun Myung Moon, who's a founder of the Unification Movement, brought that God-centered love ideology. And it's not a church. It's called the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification. It's not a denomination. You can go to any church you want or don't want and participate in the blessing of marriage. No problem. But it is a God-centered, blessed marriage. That's what we need. Left, right, middle. That's the really unifying thing. In the meantime, let's all fight our battles like I'm fighting locally. President Trump is fighting nationally. Get involved, expose corruption wherever it may be. Let's do this and know that this inflection point is a hopeful inflection point. We're going on the up curve. Absolutely. So that is my message for tonight. I thank you for listening. Do like, do subscribe, do share. If you're on Spotify or any of those platforms, please do subscribe, review the show, and we're glad that you can listen today. I'm your host, Richard Urban, coming to you from historic Harper's Ferry. Do blessed and good night.